You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Let's get spooky. This is our station, Boo, where we explore the dark and mysterious corners of the world of horror, and we know that you are dying to listen.
And welcome to the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo, where we talk all things horror. Introducing our haunted hosty mosties with the mosties. You know what I'm saying. Anyways, we have our lovely Lisa.
Hello, groovy ghoulies.
We have our kick-ass Karen.
What up, my horrorholics?
And I am your spooky Shannon. And today we are going to be talking about one of the most controversial, banned in many countries, borderline snuff films, Cannibal Holocaust. So let's get spooky. Hey horrorholics, it's time for the Ghastly Report. Stay tuned for all the fun, spine-tingling news happening in horror today, from new releases to spooky events and so much more. And welcome to the Ghastly Report. This is going to be a short one. We've already kind of mentioned these things previously, but I wanted to give you all some more details and specifics when it comes to what these things are. First up is our Discord server, The Crypt. It is now open and available for y'all to join. We're really excited. We really hope y'all can come and join us there. It's our own little spooky corner of the internet. It's where fellow horrorholics like yourselves can come and hang out, talk your favorite scary movies, share some eerie art, pitch us some fun episode ideas, or just scream into the void together. It is free, it is fun, and get together and hang out. If you don't know what a Discord server is, it's very similar to like the old school chat rooms. It's a lot of fun. We have multiple channels within one server where you can have designated conversations. If you want to talk about movies, cool. If you want to talk even about horror theater, we have a channel just for that. We also have some voice channels so people can actually chit chat while they're doing other things. And eventually we do plan on having some fun movie nights, and we would love to have you all in there. It's going to be a blast. We're really excited that we were able to get this up and going for the community, so we can't wait to see you there. Last but not least is the Throne wish list. If you're feeling extra generous and you would love to help support the podcast more than just listening to it, you can actually check out our Throne wish list. We have one for the podcast as a whole. We also have each our own personal little wish list, but this is a really safe and secure way for you guys, our lovely little ghouls, our fellow horrorholics, to send us gifts, and no jump scares are involved. There's no doxing. There is a lot of safety in it for both you, our lovely little ghouls, as well as for us as the haunted host. We've got fun stuff on there like horror merch, fun, creepy curiosities, snacky things, as well as some even podcasting gear to help elevate the show. Every item that you guys get does help the podcast be better than it was before, even if it's just through making our day a little bit better with something fun. You guys can also pick out whatever you want that's available on the Throne site to send to us. It's kind of cool. But you can find the links to both the Discord and the Throne wishlist in our link tree. You can find that on all of our social media, our website, as well as wherever you listen to the podcast. The link tree should be available to you. So with that, let's get into today's episode. It is a little on the more divisive side, so can't wait to hear what you guys think. Hey horrorholics, it's Shannon. Earth Station Boo has just launched its brand new merch store. It's time to get your hands on some killer gear. From our fun logo shirts, cozy hoodies, Let's Get Spooky stickers, and Horrorholics Anonymous totes, there's something for every one of our lovely little ghouls. We offer our spooky designs on many different types of products to fit your desires. But if you happen to see a missed opportunity, just let us know. And unlike most of Stephen King's adaptations, you know what I'm talking about, you won't be disappointed with the quality of the products. head over to our link tree in our bio, grab your merch, show off your favorite horror podcast, and most of all, let's get spooky.
We have a weekly podcast called Earth Station Trek where we talk about Star Trek.
Are we about to get into Star Trek fatigue again?
No.
And the fans are maybe getting a little tired of it?
No.
We have been doing this podcast for 4 years now.
And every single Thursday at 8 p.m., we do a live recording where we talk Star Trek.
So getting back to the future of Star Trek.
We're arguing about canon from 60 years ago. What are you talking about? That's what we do.
That's the future of Star Trek.
It's Earth Station Trek. We talk about Trek all the time. We'll be talking about it tonight.
Star Trek rules!
All right, so I'm pretty sure when we were planning out episodes to do, this was an episode where we said, hey, somebody at some point is going to ask us to do this episode. We might as well go ahead and get it out of the way now, so that way we don't have to do it later. Because we are talking about Cannibal Holocaust. It is a film that is infamous for how it was made and all the craziness with that. So it is technically an Italian film that was made in the late 70s, released in the early 80s in Italy. It wasn't until like the mid 80s here in the US. It is on a very restrictive release because of what happens in this film. We will be talking about a lot of that stuff. So actually right now, I'm going to give you guys some trigger warnings. If just hearing about these things will kind of cause you to get uneasy and trigger you in some fashion, there is going to be talks of poor animal mutilation. There's going to be talks of sexual assault and mistreatment of indigenous groups. So if these are things that bother you, we understand. We will see you in the next episode, but we want to give you that opportunity to move on before we dive in. So this movie is about an anthropologist who has to go out and find, potentially rescue, a documentary crew who had gone out to the Amazon, or AKA the Green Inferno, to study and watch these cannibalistic tribes in the Amazon. Well, it turns out that they were killed by these tribes. The anthropologist makes friends with the tribes in order to be able to get back the film. Unfortunately, couldn't get back the bodies, but he was able to get back the film at least, and to bring it back to at least tell their story. And in bringing it back to New York, they start watching the footage and they see that this documentary crew basically tortured these tribes who knew nothing of the modern world and of what this documentary crew was. They brutalized animals. They raped women. They kept people in a burning hut, left a tribe homeless, and kind of laughed it all off. And then finally, the tribe retaliated and took their revenge, and they tore the men apart. They raped and plundered the one woman who was on the team, and the TV station wanted to show this footage until they actually watched the footage and realized that it was not something that should be ever seen. And so the footage at the very end of the film was destroyed. With that being said, let's go ahead, get our initial thoughts out of the way on this film. Who would like to go first?
I could went my whole life without watching this film. But
Fair.
I did it for you guys. I did it for the fans. And I remembered why I stopped watching the freaking film.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to. Did it for the fans.
Lisa, how about you?
Well, unfortunately, I saw it when I was younger, when it came out in the movie theaters, because I was always in some kind of weird movie theater watching weird shit. But yeah, no. I mean, if you guys want to see it, cool. I re-watched some of it for you guys too. But now that I'm more mature, well, as mature as a 12-year-old could be, I definitely, no.
I thought I had seen this film before. I had not seen this film before. I think I had seen segments of it, if that makes sense. Like seeing clips kind of thing. But I completely understand why people do not want to watch this film. This is a film that I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to watch ever again. But if I come across somebody who has questions and they want to watch it, I will watch it with them as emotional support while I play on my phone. You know, to watch like the not so spots and hold their hand through
like Pedro Pascal. Be like Pedro Pascal in the SNL. Like, oh my God, don't cry. You make me cry. Hold my hand. Hold my hand.
Yeah.
With each other.
I'll be the emotional support human. But yeah, this is a tough film. So we're gonna go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off rather than wait and drag it on even further. Cannibal Holocaust is infamous for its use of real animal killings and realistic portrayals of violence throughout the film. Ruggiero, the director, was part of the shocksploitation era of cinema. He really liked doing the films that really kind of pushed the envelope when it came to blurring the lines between reality and fiction. But how do we think his approach and the authenticity of making this film with its practical, I'm using massive quotations on this one, effects impact the audience? And do you think it crosses an ethical line, or is it justified artful expression?
Okay, there's two sides of this. Okay, you have the human side, the ethical morality side of it. As a person, it really will. You'll be unsettled by watching this because of the fact that there is a lot of gratuitous violence. There is, animal killing. There is, the pretty cool practical effects that they do use. You're like, that's actually pretty damn good. But at the same time, you're pushing the envelope to where you're making people uncomfortable and cringe. And then there's the artistic side of it, where I could understand as somebody who is into the film, photography of it all, whatever you want to call it. I could see how they could appreciate this film as an art form because of the fact this is one of the earliest found footage movies. Also, it's trying to show people art is supposed to invoke an emotion, and it's trying to show people that even if you are civilized, you can still be savage, just like a savage.
Yeah.
But
I mean, honestly, that is the reason the title of this episode is I Wonder Who the Real Cannibals Are.
Yeah. But as a person watching it, you're going to get uncomfortable real quick. You have to strap yourself in and be like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you never saw this movie before, you'd be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like if we said, we will be your emotional human.
Yep.
But I will keep my eyes closed or playing on my phone when some of the scenes happen.
Yeah.
Because the gratuitous violence, especially the depiction of rape, kind of pushes that envelope. And it kind of reminds me of this artist who she had her eyes closed and she basically stood naked and said, you could do whatever you want with my body. And that was supposed to be art.
Things those men did.
And those men did. So it's kind of like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Lisa?
Yeah. There are two sides of it. The human side, it's just deplorable. I mean, honestly, the artistic side, you do have to being an artist myself, sometimes you do have to push limits. The practical effects that were actually effects was pretty good and definitely got an emotional response. But honestly, it's kind of hard. I mean, I'm sorry, I won't be anybody's emotional support person for this. I'm done. I saw it in the movie theater when I was younger and I was a little bit number, but now no, I can't watch it anymore. It's just too, it doesn't trigger me. It just makes me feel unclean, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
No, it does.
And I don't like found footage anyway, so
Yeah.
that's even double.
Yeah. I definitely had to watch a comedy after watching this. I watched some Monty Python, I think like for 2 hours after.
Spam.
After watching this.
Yeah.
But specifically with like the animal killings, I appreciate the fact that multiple people who were part of this project did say that all of the animals that were, what's the word I want to use, brutalized during this film were eaten. Like they were used as food for the people of that area. A lot of the people who were part of the tribes and everything did actually consume the meat. So it wasn't like the animals completely went to waste. However, the brutalization of it was unnecessary, especially the sea turtle. That one, there was no reason for them to do it the way that they did it. And there was no reason for them to shoot it the way that they shot it. And I do not blame Francesca for throwing up the way that she threw up. And that was a true reaction. Like that wasn't like scripted. She's like, I threw up because that was disgusting. That was grotesque. And to know that even the actors themselves, minus one guy, all were like, no, the things that were happening we were unsettled by it. We were uncomfortable by it. Just kind of shows you that there was a line and it was being crossed multiple times, including the monkey who was in that area. Monkey brains are a delicacy. Hey, if you want to eat monkey brains, go for it. But the fact that the director said, I want to do another take, I want to shoot it from a different angle, was unnecessary, in my opinion.
Yep.
As much as I love art, and I think artful expression is 100% needed in a world in order for us to function as human beings and to really understand where lines lie, I also think that there are certain forms of artful expression that should have lines, and those lines should not be crossed.
Agree.
And I think this movie, when it came to a lot of the violence, did cross some lines because it was unnecessary the way it was filmed. You could have gotten that same point across without the brutality. I understand it is supposed to be exploitation. It is supposed to be shock exploitation. It's supposed to unnerve you, but to make it where a majority of the audience will not watch this movie ever again, or have walked out in the middle of it, or even the beginning of it, speaks volumes to the unethicalcy of the film, in my opinion.
I mean, this movie was banned for the longest time.
I think it's still banned in like 50 countries.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's so brutal and so, like, realistic that people thought it was really a snuff film.
Yeah.
And to push that envelope so far that people thought it was a snuff film.
I mean, it teeters.
Yeah.
It teeters hard.
Very hard.
I mean, Charlie Sheen was even like called the police. He's like, I think I just watched a snuff film. Charlie Sheen?
The director was actually tried for murder. He had to bring in cast members to be like, see, no, they are alive. We didn't kill them. Then he was only charged with like animal mutilation. But
still, at the same time, like, I'm pretty like, sketchy at that. Like, you sure you didn't kill anybody?
The fact that like the government is going, nah, we think you killed these people.
No, they're right here.
Granted, there was like a contract that they were supposed to be like out of the public eye,
hiding for a year.
Yeah, but it's still just one of those like, come on. As you guys said earlier, that this is one of the earliest examples of found footage. It has significant influence in the horror cinema when it comes to how it was shot. The difference in the documentarians versus the anthropologists, and like how like the cameras were used and shown, and the whole nine. How effective is this style and the immersion for the viewers when it comes to the story? Do you think that like the raw and settling format enhanced or detracted from the film? Do you think the cinematography still kind of influences horror today, and specifically found footage? Lisa, do you want to start us?
Yeah, since this is one of the first found footage films, I think it detracted a little bit because there were a couple of parts where you were looking at the ground, there was some blurry and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now today, it's like, yeah, and it's jumpy and everything, but you have more focus on the subject in the found footage now than you did on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it did enhance to make it feel real, more real.
Yeah.
Which was okay, but I don't know. Honestly, I think it's a half-half. It inspired him, but it didn't really, I don't think it really did much for the movie.
Okay. What do you think about its impact on the genre?
It definitely had an impact for sure, because, after that, everybody wants to do found footage. Oh, I can get my video camera. I remember in the 80s, everybody was filming all kinds of stuff. So it definitely had an influence on it.
Do you think it's still having an influence?
Not really. Now that we're more we've got better technology and kind of, I don't know, kind of, sort of, but not really.
Okay.
I can't really give you a good opinion about it because, I'm kind of biased that I don't like found footage.
No, that's okay. That's fair. Karen, how about you?
As one of the earliest found footage films, it does impact the found footage era that we had with Blair Witch and everything. I mean, still to this day, we still have found footage movies. I don't think that will ever go away because of, the first, like Cannibal Holocaust, The Connection. There was another one that was it was Orson Welles. His stories was done as found footage.
Oh yeah.
So, as a leader as a forefather of found footage, yeah, it had a very impactful in cinematography history. I don't like found footage, but I will watch it. If it gets to like the shaky part, I'm like, but if it's like all steady, because some people do have that steady hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could watch that, but if they're like running, I can't. With this film, because it was like half,
yeah,
explanation or something, and then half found footage, where this anthropologist is like going to find these people, and he's like. He's like, I don't know if you want to watch this because blah 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 blah, and the lady was like, oh no, they just set up everything and it makes it look like it's real, and he was like, you sure about that? You want to watch this together? Let's watch this together. And they watched it together, and she's like all uncomfortable. So yep.
Yep.
Your people out there making stuff up are not really. Yeah, they're making stuff up, but they're also terrorizing people.
Yeah.
You really want to show this? But, it does get the message across for what it wants to do, but it also distracts from its message with the violence and the brutality. So, I mean, cinematography-wise, it does distract, really, because of the fact, because I'm looking down most of the time, because most found footage, you don't have that brutality. Most found footage, you're just having a story and some jump scares, the tension, but if you're watching this found footage, you're gonna.
Yeah. I mean, the found footage portion of it, which is basically everything that the documentarians had done. So Alan and his girlfriend and Luca and Jack and their guide Felipe. That core group, I believe that they had 2 cameras. And so there was multiple angles of a lot of different things. And the way that they showcased that in the movie itself, you had like where you could see like they were running and like somebody had to put the camera down so they could like book it, and then like they picked it back up once they got to a spot where they could stop. And so you had a lot of that like jerky motions. But then like even the scene with the turtle, you had multiple scenes like where like you could see the guys who were tearing it apart to like close-ups of its organs. And it was just this like very like jarring back and forth that I don't know if it was disruptive, but it was unsettling. So it made you not want to watch, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does. It does.
But I like how you have that like unsettling type of footage in comparison to the anthropologist that was steady, that was clean, that was like, even when he was in the jungle, it was still clean footage. So it was more like you were watching it happen versus the found footage portion where you're like, they're trying to almost immerse you in it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they try, but it kind of puts you out of it, really. For me,
Yeah.
it put me out of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think the unsettlingness of it is what makes people want to back out. So we kind of started talking about like the documentary crew. And as we said when we kind of described the plot, the film critiques the sensationalism and the exploitation of media, particularly by the actions of the documentary crew. How do you interpret the film's message about media ethics and responsibility? And is this critique still relevant today in media? And does this film itself be an example of this lack of ethics and is pure exploitation itself?
Watching this film, you should have like, some ethics on how you report documentaries and or news, because of the fact that you can make your own news and your documentaries by fabricating some stuff and not be true to what is going on around you in the world. I think that's the reason why I like social media, because of the fact that, some people could go live and be like, listen, look.
Yeah.
So you have no, you can't edit that. You can't.
Yeah.
But for this crew, they got kind of what they deserved
Yeah.
because of what they did. Because you don't know how many times they've done this before, right? They didn't really, specify. She said, "Oh yeah, they did it. You knew they did it once because
Yeah,
of that
they showed an example.
but you don't know how many times they've done it. So it seems like karma was paying them back. I mean, it's like, I'm sorry, you did all this, and you did this previously. Let's go ahead and punish you.
Yeah,
But
I think when like you look at like the carnage count, I think the one of the scenes from their like previous documentary, it was I think like 16 people got like shot up and killed, and it was innocent people who got killed. It wasn't people who were part of some territorial war or anything like that. Like they hired people to do it.
Yeah.
So
it's like you have to have some sort of ethics on when you're trying to do these documentaries. I mean, you can't fabricate. When people go out to do their own research and you're like, huh, well, I saw this documentary and this said this, but this is what I'm saying. Somebody's going to like, check behind you at some point in life.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 100% for news sources or news stations or documentaries or any of that stuff having to have a list of receipts that can be looked up.
Yeah. So,
but Lisa, how about you?
Okay. First of all, yes, it is definitely a lack of responsibility and the way they did it and ethics. It does elaborate on what you should not do when you're doing this, because they affected these creatures, they affected the tribes, everything. It's just like they went in and it's like, oh, we're just going to do this and not take into accustom anything that, customs or anything like that. Basically, it's just like, I think it does affect the media. I think we have some people that are actually more responsible. The media has changed so much since when I was younger, when we had more responsible documentaries and stuff. And now we have a lot of sensationalism that they don't care who they step on and stuff. So it does show this is a bad example. And it's like a warning. It's like kind of like, well, if you do it this way and be irresponsible, well, there's your karma. And this can happen. Whereas all the people in the studio are like, yeah, this is going to be great. And then they see what the truth is and they're like, oh. So I think it does affect the way some people do documentaries and stuff today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely a bad example. You don't want to do that. It's ethically wrong the way they did the whole exploitation and everything.
Yeah. I do think this film does lie with how it was made, like the treatment of the animals, treatment of the cast and the crew, the treatment of the local individuals who worked on the film. It did show a lack of ethics and responsibility. So in that, I believe it was an example. I think, however, it does paint a heavy stroke on media at that time. So think of the 70s and all the news things that were happening there. I think it really made a huge statement of, you guys can't create stories just to talk about them. You can't create unrest in these countries of these individuals who, by your standards, are uncivilized. They're civilized, but they're civilized in their own way versus us. And to come in and to wreak havoc is uncalled for, especially if they're not hurting anybody. Like, relatively, like, they're not hurting anyone. Yes, they have their own justice system. They have their own way of doing things. Like you saw in this film, there was a woman who had, an affair, and she was murdered for it. Okay, like, that's their rule. Like, no affairs. Think about like what we would do then if people were having affairs. Would you risk it if you knew it was against the law and you'd get killed for it? Probably not. But that's their rules. So it's interesting to see how it played, and you can see the difference between the documentary crew and anthropologists and how they approached interacting with somebody who wasn't themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that comparison alone really helps show how the sensationalism and the exploitation in media is unethical, and it lacks the responsibility that they're supposed to have, if that makes sense.
Now we have to deal with AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Fucking AI.
And then then we have a lot of those influencers that do that unethical type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Just because they want to, I mean,
even some of like the social media stuff that you see, you don't see how it starts. And how it starts is somebody, the person who's recording, they're the one who started it, and they got on reaction from somebody, and they're filming the reaction, and so you don't see the beginnings of it. It's interesting to see how it's the same tactics, just it's evolved with how technology and the world has evolved.
Exactly.
The movie's juxtaposition, the so-called civilized behavior of filmmakers with the rituals of the indigenous tribes. How do you guys feel that Cannibal Holocaust challenges and or reinforces the stereotypes between civilization and savagery? Karen, I know you got a lot to say on this one.
Okay, so we were talking about this earlier.
We were.
Because I was like, were they really indigenous people, or did they get actors to be indigenous people? And I was like, if they were indigenous people, then oh my God, what the hell is wrong with them? Why were they doing these to these people?
Yeah.
But yeah, they were just regular people of that. That
they were
location.
Indigenous people. They're just people of that savage, and we're saying quoting like quotation marks saying savage. I would say, I don't even want to say civilized, because I think that's not even the right word. Modernized.
Yeah. Because they were able to go home, take off their costume, put on some clothes and go home. Mm-hmm. So, but still the betrayal of these cannibals was wrong. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's like so wrong on many levels, because you could watch documentaries on, on tribes that have been untouched by civilization, and they don't act like this. I mean, yeah, they're afraid for the first time of meeting you, but they don't, act savage,
Yeah.
quote unquote. They're different. They just have, different rituals, different customs. They're just different.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of reminds me of, when the colonization of America happened and they called Native Americans savages.
Mm-hmm.
No, they weren't. They were civilized in their own right.
Yeah.
But like this whole movie, I was like, this, I wanted to punch my fist through the TV. I'm not gonna do that because that's a $200-something TV that I got on, okay, at Walmart for 40-something inches or 60-something inches. It was on sale. So they attempt to show the savagery in this movie, but it comes off rather manufactured because as someone who studies like different cultures, you could tell that they were reaching to make this tribe into something that they weren't. That these documentarians or these whatever you want to call them, these people, these cruel people who came in and forced, who
the
faked
assholes. We'll call the documentary crew assholes because that's
these
what
assholes who faked most of their footage to sensationalize these group of people, and they got their comeuppance at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have the anthropologists watching the found footage with the people, and the people were like, you know what, let's destroy this and not talk about this ever again.
Mm-hmm.
My butt, I'll have copies. Oh no, we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about this. This is the people you sent out to do your stuff, manufacturing stuff. We're gonna talk about this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the morality of this, the ethics of this. You're faking stuff. You're faking film footage to make yourself look good.
Yep.
And it proves to you that you're more of a savage than the indigenous people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're putting them through the ringer.
Yep.
So my petty butt would have made copies of all that. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about this. No, we're going to show this.
And I want to know what was on the other 2 rolls of film that had like sun damage, that had gotten like light damage on them. Like what else did they do to these poor people?
Oh, I would have gotten that.
that we didn't see.
Yeah, I know,
would have gotten
right?
all that try to be fixed. Like, can you fix this? Fix it.
Yeah.
I want to see. I want everyone to see.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, this whole corporation.
Yeah. And the fact that the corporation was more than happy to show it until the anthropologist goes, this is what you want to show. This is what they did. Really? Really?
It's like, so you said they're putting on an act. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? How about we go to those other countries and see where they filmed?
Mm-hmm.
Was it really an act? No?
Yeah.
Yep. Lisa, what are your thoughts?
Well, definitely the corporation was more savage than the indigenous people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially since they wanted to show that footage. It's like, yeah, no. I mean, what they put those people through was horrible. What they did to those animals was horrible. Having that one little native kid, I guess, or person snort cocaine was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Just so they could keep him with the rope around his neck. Yeah, I would say that the natives were more humane than the documentarians for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So the cannibals, in my opinion, would probably be the documentarian assholes.
Yeah.
It's like they felt like they were privileged enough that they could get away with it. And the things they did were terrible. And the fact that the corporation, we're going to show this. Mm-hmm. No, I don't think so. But, hey, there you go.
That's what got me. It's like, you're going to show this without watching it first?
Right.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, the editor
you have that much faith in your crew?
The anthropologist said at one point, your editors quit watching this footage for a reason. Mm-hmm. You need to watch it. Just the lack of foresight.
I know. It's just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that got me. I was like, so you're going to show this film? Do you not know what's on this film? Sit down and watch this film with me.
Right?
I was watching their reactions.
I won't lie. That small little scene when they go in, the confidence radiating off the anthropologist, where he was like, nah, fuck this. They're going to see for themselves. Let's watch it. Go on, guys. Watch the film. I've seen it. I think it's abhorrent. Like, please watch this. I mean, at one point, he even said, he's like, I want nothing to do with this. I do not want my name attached to this in any way, shape, and form. Like you could tell, like there was like a part of him that almost was repulsed for even going and getting that footage. That like he was ashamed of himself for just getting it.
But yeah, after you watch it, you're like, damn, I should have just like let it be. But like me being petty as I am, yeah, I'm ashamed. But this is what this corporation was doing. They were manufacturing films.
Yep.
They're manufacturing sensationalism. This is what they sent this crew out to do.
Yep. And honestly, like I kind of said earlier, like the tribes, yeah, they may not be civilized the way that we are civilized, but they are civilized. They have a structure to their group of people that works for their group of people in maintaining organized living situations. That is what civilization is.
Yeah.
But savagery, you could be part of the most modern civilized community and still be a savage.
Yep.
Like to me, the colonizers were savages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like
forcing everybody to do what they wanted to do and cutting off hands.
Yeah, I think this film does reinforce the stereotypes, but not for the people of the color that you think.
Yeah.
I think they really showed how savage the Americans were, or the white people were, because it wasn't just all Americans.
You know, what was really funny when the anthropologist was talking to the people that knew, like the families and the people that knew the crew, and one of the fathers was like, I don't know him. He's an asshole. He's a jackass. I haven't talked to him in years. As far as I'm concerned, he's dead. That should have been your clue number one.
None. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I
like,
think that was Luca.
It was somebody's father.
I think Luca was the guy's real name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Luca's character. I think that's who, like his character was the one that had the dad who's like, I want nothing to do with him. He's an SOB.
He's like, I don't care if he's, I hope he's dead. I was like, whoa.
Oh.
Dad, damn.
Yep.
And then you watch it, you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand. I'm with you there, Popsicle. The film remains controversial to this day. It is extremely polarizing decades later. But I think they said that they filmed it like almost 50 years ago, but I think it's only like 40 something. Multiple decades after its release. Why do you think this movie continues to evoke such strong reactions? Should modern audiences approach this film with its problematic histories and cultural portrayals? Is this even a matter of just viewing it through a different time lens, like seeing it through 2025 eyes versus 1980s eyes?
I mean, still looking at it, you know, in modern eyes, you're still kind of like, not trying to be.
I would say modern eyes would be a little bit more critical of the film.
Yeah.
Versus like back when it was made.
Yeah.
I am more critical of this film now that I watch it watch it all the way through and not stop it. I'm like, what were we? Were we all on crack? Like, were y'all on cocaine? Yeah, it was the 80s.
It was the 80s cocaine.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's the 70s and 80s.
It's like,
yeah.
I'm like, how did this get through the censorship? And then you realize,
Booger Sugar was popular.
Yeah, it's still banned in several countries. That should tell you something.
Yeah.
Like, even in 2025, they're like, nah, you need to go out of this country to go watch it.
Yeah.
That tells you something. Even though in the 1980s, people were watching it. Like even Lisa said, I was dumb and young and I watched it. And now watching it now, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw a lot of films that I shouldn't have seen. It's
like your mind matures, you know, with all the experiences that you've gone through. Watching it now in 2025, you're like, what? Were we thinking? I wasn't alive in 1980. I was born in 1982. Okay? As an 80s baby, 90s baby, watching it now, I'm like, I know the director or whoever, the producer said, keep filming, kill more people at some point.
Oh, yeah. He pushed Ruggiero pushed the limit a number of different times. The female actress Francesca, she was fully nude multiple times throughout the film, and
There was a lot of new people.
She did not like it. The one scene where her and her boyfriend are having fun times in front of the entire village, she didn't want to go topless, and the director pulled the guy aside and was like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take off her shirt and I want you to turn her around so we can film her tits. And he's like, okay, I guess I like if that's the direction you want. And while he was trying to do that, she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm doing what the director told me. He told me to do this. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then ended up getting her ass reamed by the director in the jungle. Like he was literally yelling at her, screaming at her for her to do the scene correctly. And then she came out and had to
do the scene.
But, you know, there was a lot that the director wanted that pushed the envelope and was unethical as a whole. And he seems to have no shame.
He has no qualms.
Moral compass.
No shame or regret for how he did it.
Moral compass.
I've tried to go into this, open-minded. It's 2025, movie back in the 80s. I've seen parts of it, going with open mind, and I'm like, oh no, not to be clenching my pearls.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. I mean, all of us seem to be okay with gore. We're like, yeah, give me gore. It's not a big deal. Oh, somebody's going to run around naked? Not a big deal. Like a lot of like the stuff that kind of happened in this film is not stuff that we normally have a problem with. But I think it's because of how it was done that we all are going,
yeah,
this is the issue.
And this is very much an issue because I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know what the director was thinking. I know he was probably snorting some cocaine because that's what they did back in the 80s and 70s. Had to have been. But at the same time, I'm like, I bet some of these people felt uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. All of the cast has, like, I feel like all the interviews I saw of the cast, all of them said, no, while filming it was scarier than watching it. Like they watched the movie afterwards and they're like, we get why people are scared. However, it was worse making it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could understand that because you could feel some of their uncomfortness. I was like, why do I feel uncomfortable for them? Are they uncomfortable too?
Like
I felt really
that scene,
bad.
Like that scene that I was talking about them having sex in front of like all those people. You can tell he's extremely uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell like he's not wanting to do this. And she's obviously uncomfortable. She's not wanting to do this. The other rape scene looked really weird too because all the guys just seemed very awkward and
it really
which to a certain point makes me go, okay, at least you guys aren't complete scumbags because like you feel weird doing that, but at the same time you fucking signed up for this.
You did sign up for this.
Yes.
And you chose to stay.
Yes.
Like, unless you got hired but you never read the script yet.
They didn't. They didn't get the script until like the day they would shoot.
Oh, wow.
And they would get like that day's scripts. And I think that's because like the guy who played Alan, he was the second guy cast for that because the first guy like pieced out.
I would have pieced out too. I was like, I'm so far in now, I can't piece out. Like, he at this point.
He had a interview. It was almost like an hour long. It's on YouTube. If you guys like Google Cannibal Holocaust interviews, it's one of the first ones that comes up. And he actually said in that after like a certain point, I think it was after the monkey brain situation, he from that point on left to go out to like film with his passport, all of his money, anything he needed so he could leave the country. If he needed to hightail it, he had everything he needed so he could hightail it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's insane that you had that fair. Like that you had that point where you're like, I'm keeping everything with me just in case. Just in case. I need to like peace out. I got it with me. Which is kind of funny because there was a plane that would come to like that area of the jungle where they were filming. There was a plane that would come, but it was only twice a week. So he's like, even if I left, he's like, I'd have to like wait until like the next time the plane got there.
Yeah, I mean, right. But the thing is, I'm
But
like, you're stuck on this location. You're
Mhm.
20 scenes in, and then you get to that one scene, you're like, I can't back it out now.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did not know this was going to be in the movie.
which they did the turtle scene before he came on board. He only heard about it. So when he saw it in the film, that was the first time he saw it. And he was like, I heard how bad it was. He goes, but it did not prepare me for what I saw.
Right.
And I was just like, broski. Yeah.
That poor little rat too. I was so upset.
Right?
And I'm not a big rat fan, but I felt really sorry for it.
Yeah. If you are not a human being, then you will not have emotional reactions to this film. But if you have any human anything to you, you'll have some reaction to this film at some point.
Even as a modern 2025er.
Yeah. I went into it going, okay, I know that this is a controversial film. I know that there's a lot of stigma when it comes to this film and a lot of taboo subjects. And like, I understand this. I'm going in going, I know that this stuff is happening. I'm going to understand like, okay, I know this is what this is. Let me just kind of push through it. And there are still certain scenes where I sat there and I was like, I don't care what the reasoning was. This was uncalled for. You could have gotten this point across without showing this.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is what makes this so polarizing, is that no matter what decade it is, there's no reason for them to do the things that they did. They could have used a stuffed animal for all we care. Like they didn't have to use real animals all the time, or they didn't have to show it the way that they showed it.
I mean, you could have used a like taxidermy turtle, filled it with guts, and been fine with it.
Yeah. Filled it with plastic guts and been fine.
It's basically the execution. I'm fine with gore and everything because love horror, but it's the execution and the direction that was very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, it is the how it was made. Like the story itself, the movie itself, I really don't have too much problem with it other than how it was made. Like you didn't need the real animal killings. You should have treated your cast and crew and everybody who was involved with the movie better. You fix those two things, I think the message of the movie stands. I do think, and this may be a hot take, but I think this is a film that should be taught in ethics classes as well as in cinema and news journalism classes. I think this is a perfect film to discuss ethics. I think this is a perfect film to discuss being a responsible storyteller. And I think those individuals who want to go into those avenues of career, be it journalism, media, filmmaking, whatever, should have to sit and watch the entire thing. You know, they should have to sit and see the brutalization, and they should sit there and see the full outcome of everything. And part of that is because when you are on that side of making things, sometimes you forget where the line is.
Yeah.
And I think this is a perfect film to remind you that there is a line and you better not cross it. I know it's not an easy movie to sit through. And I know like there's probably a ton of people are like, this is the reason why I became a vegan or, or whatever. But, it's no matter what lens you look at it through, it's a hard movie to watch. And it's all because of the how. The why I fully support. I think the reason behind the movie of, holding media responsible and keeping them ethical is important, but he could have done it a different way.
True that. I will give the movie props. They gave male frontal nudity as much time as female frontal nudity.
If not a little bit more.
Yeah, I was like, is he naked? Is
And
that the penis?
we saw plenty of male backsides.
Yeah. I was like, okay. Equal opportunists.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. And currently it is available to stream on Peacock. So if you are interested in seeing this film and you haven't seen it already, that is where you can see it. This is the conservative one because they did 2 different takes on an indigenous girl rape scene. One was with them clothed, which is the one that we saw on Peacock. And the non-conservative one, the guy's all stripped down, fully naked in it. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and wrap up this monstrosity. We are going to do our final thoughts and our skull ratings. If you are new with us, our skull ratings are 1 through 5. 1 because somebody tried. Somebody tried. And then 5, we think it's amazing. Lisa, why don't you go ahead and start us off? What are your final thoughts on this film?
Okay. My final thoughts on this film. It is so exploitative. It's horrendous. I would never watch it again, not even to be someone's comfort person. I don't even want to ever think about this film again unless I have no choice. But I will give it a 2 skulls because it is the father of found footage. And, some of the practical effects that weren't mutilating the animals and stuff were actually pretty decent.
Okay.
And that's what I have to say about that.
That is perfectly fair. Absolutely fair. My friend, what are your final thoughts and ratings on this?
She's holding her pearls.
I mean, this is a movie that does a good example of exploitation and shockploitation. Mm-hmm. It also is a movie that talks about ethics and morality, documentaries and news, filmmaking, whatever you want to call it, or anything that you do. The practicals that were used was actually pretty good. Some of the other stuff, how he directed this movie. Punch him in the face. But he's dead. He died in 2022. Like, I'm a person that will watch a horror movie. I love gore. I don't mind, other things when it comes to horror. It's just how it's portrayed and how it is, directed, how it comes across. I give this a 1.
That's fair.
Because, number 1, that director crossed boundaries with his actors. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah, he did.
Number 2, you really did not have to show the savages, quote unquote, as savages. They just could have been like, regular indigenous people who just got fed up with these people, with the filmmakers. Mm-hmm. They could have been going about their life, doing whatever they're doing, and just watching them just terrorize, their village. But no, they had to make them into savages, quote unquote. And then, and then the needless animal killing. Yeah, I understand they ate the animals. Okay, that was the only thing I could get my mind around. But they didn't have to show the brutality of it. I'll give it a 1.
Yeah, it's hard for me to rate this one. There's a part of me who wants to give credit where credit is due for the cast and the crew, minus the director, because they went to hell.
I mean, yeah, they went to hell
and back for this film, and they deserve at least 2 stars just because of that. But at the same time, this how it was made is
viewers. If you can see me, I'm pulling out my hair.
How it was made, I want to bring Ruggiero back to life, just so I can slap him, and then put him back in the ground, because it just how it was made was just so ucky and uncalled for. But the message behind the movie, if you take out take out the things that were too much, like the treatment of everybody, the animal killings, even like the depictions of the tribes. It actually isn't half bad of a movie. Like, it makes you kind of want to watch it again if you take all those things out. The unfortunate part is those things are so embedded and threaded into the rest of the film that then you can't separate them, unfortunately.
Well, that being said, if they did a remake of the movie,
Eli Roth tried.
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, he tried.
Eli Roth tried.
You did?
Yeah, the Green Inferno
Oh,
is a remake.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I need to watch that then.
Do we need to add? I think it's on the list.
It's on the list.
It should be on the list.
Well, we'll do it at some point. But I think what I love most about this film was the scene where the anthropologist was talking to one of the people who run like the media organization, and they were sitting on a bench and they were talking about the film or the footage that they found. And she made a comment of, well, that's just, like how the savages are, something along those lines. And it was specifically talking about like a scene where the documentary crew went and they shot this pig that was tied up. And this pig was meant for food for this village. And he's like, how would you like it if somebody came into your home, took your food, and threw it down the toilet? How civilized would you be? How respectable would you be? Or would you be savage as well? And I feel like that is almost the entire message of the movie of, would you act with kindness and just like let them do whatever they wanted in your home, or would you fight back and try to kick them out? Like, how would you handle that situation? And it really makes you rethink a lot of things and puts things in a different perspective. That makes me give it a 2.5. I feel bad for giving it that high of a thing, but at the same time, I think the message itself does push it that far. I know that there's a lot that's not great about this film, but even as I said in our last kind of like topic of discussion, it's a prime example of how ethics should be handled in storytelling, be it media, be it fiction. There needs to be responsibility, and there needs to be ethics, and there needs to be honor in how you do it. And this is a perfect example of where the lines are that should not be crossed. So now that this extremely heavy, no hee ha ha fun time episode is over, our lovely little horrorholics, our lovely little ghouls, have you guys seen this film? Come tell us what your ratings would be on this film. If you haven't seen it, watch it with a friend, or don't take your animal to watch it because they might get traumatized. But bring a buddy. I do not recommend watching this movie alone.
Or in the dark.
Or in the dark. Watch it in the daytime, and then watch a fun comedy, hee hee ha ha fun times thing afterwards.
Yeah, I watched it in the dark, and I made that big mistake. I was like, oh shit.
I definitely recommend a palate cleanser afterwards, whatever your palate cleanser happens to be. But definitely watch a palate cleanser.
I would recommend
play a video game.
Oh, video games, yes, or a romantic comedy, which I'd never usually recommend, but hey, it'll help ease it away from you a little bit.
Yeah. But tell us on our social media. Come tell us if you've seen it and what you would rate it as. You can find us on almost all the different platforms. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are on X, Threads, Blue Sky. Our Facebook group is always a hoppin' and a boppin'. You can also subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts, such as Apple, Google, Spotify, and YouTube. And you can leave some fun comments on YouTube. We do answer back, I promise. But ladies, where can they find you? Lisa?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on Threads. That's it. Sorry. So went blank there for a second. And also, if you guys want to listen to me curse and kill things, I have a Twitch now, and I usually play on Sundays. And you can watch me play Mortal Kombat and other horror games and hear me yelling at everybody. So my Twitch would be Raven Zen. So check that out if you want to just kind of hear me yelling and beating shit up.
Karen, where can they find you?
Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, Threads, TikTok, Reddit.
I am Shannon. You can find me on all the things at Spill Tea Wine Media Mind. Our lovely little ghouls, like always, thank you. We appreciate you and your support so flippin' much. Honestly, like, it really does mean the world for us, for every like, every share. Honestly, like, every time I see a comment, I'm like, girls, we got a comment. They're probably like sick and tired of me saying that. But yeah, we really do appreciate you. So stay spooky, our lovely little ghouls.
And this has been the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.